Hi, Adele asked me to record some thoughts immediately after completing the Naked Divorce program, and that's what I'm doing now. So I found it to be an amazing program. And what do I mean by that? Well, I was very skeptical. I mean, I've done a lot of self-development work previously and learned a lot about myself through those interactions and have done a few things. Like, I'm 41. Like, it wasn't a new field to me. But I met Adele and I was immediately blown away by her charisma and her intelligence and her strength of character. And that was very compelling to me. I was going through a very traumatic breakup. I was married. And had domestic violence and alcoholism and gambling, and the arrival of our son, who's now 3 years old. So now I'm a single working mother, full-time in the city, pretty demanding job, and looking after my son, who doesn't understand why mommy goes to work instead of playing with Sonic or Batman. So it's pretty demanding, and I had my plate full, and I didn't really understand what a course would do. And I'm intelligent enough to sort of understand why the relationship didn't work out, but there was a lot of suppression going on in my life, and I registered for the course fully out of trusting Adele and a little bit of hope that it might do something amazing for me. And the first few days were setting the ethics and the foundations, and it's just about getting into a routine instead of always being at the effects of drama and the latest crisis to emerge. I was always referring to my life as EastEnders. So just getting into a routine and listening to the breakup reboot and doing daily declarations and, having to take a shower every day and read those declarations and really have my game face on pretty early every day was enough of a change, instead of just being this victim of, you don't know what I'm going through and you don't know how hard it is to do everything. And I don't think I was really aware of how much of a victim I was being and what effect that was having on me and my son and my inability to leave my ex. So it was about setting ethics and boundaries at the beginning for me to follow. And then it really talked about what we could learn about ourselves in dealing with trauma, and upset and pain. What story or fantasy I had created about the relationship that allowed it to continue and exist. And you got to understand, when I started this program, I was fine. Everything was fine. I was doing the best I can. And the exercise about, writing the whole love story, how we met, how we fell in love, the little things he did and said, it just brought all of those emotions flooding back. And I was really resisting that. And didn't really want to get in touch with those feelings. And that's when I began to realize just how much suppression was a part of my life. And the program is every day, right? So it's not like I could have this realization, I'm pretty suppressed, and then run away for a week or two, which was challenging, to be honest. You sign up to this program of no steets, short-term avoidance, emotional avoidance tactics, and I was a flipping pro at emotional avoidance tactics. I was running away from things and not even realizing that the primary impulse to do the things I was doing was just to avoid emotion. And I really saw that. And the more I wrote out my love story, the more it became abundantly clear to me the things that I had contributed and the little lies that I had allowed myself to believe, and the things that I had chosen to ignore, and really started looking more at my responsibility in our interaction. And the one thing that was really great about the program is Adele kept saying, don't be enlightened. You don't have to be, a guru to do this program. Just be yourself. And so I wrote really mushy stuff and like really victim-based stuff. And then the day that really sort of scared me, and the one that I was most apprehensive about doing, was day 9, was the emotional release day. And because I'm quite a thinker, I like to process things in my head because I'm such a pro at suppressing them. And I was like, really, do I have to be some lunatic with bags of ice and screaming? And is it really necessary to sort of feel? I mean, really? Which is just insane. And I did it, like, really against my will, like, really pouted, like when my son doesn't want to eat his dinner. Like, I was just as good at being stubborn and pouting. I smashed through 27 bags of ice. And I don't just mean, like, tap them lightly and then moved on. Like, the direction was pulverize the ice. And I mean, it sort of felt like it was snowing in my living room. I piled all these bags of ice onto my sofa behind me so that I wouldn't hurt the floors, and took my hockey stick and just whacked it. I mean, it was like margarita consistency ice when I was done. It was just amazing. And some of the things I started shouting and saying, emotions and thoughts that I hadn't even really let myself feel out loud and really be present to. Yeah, that's how I thought. I was really quite surprised at how freeing letting all of that out was, and just coming to terms with how much anger I had inside of me that I was ignoring and not dealing with and afraid of and running from. And to be honest, I needed to pause after that exercise. Like, I think I took a week out and just sort of reflect on what I had learned. And Adele was really understanding and really supportive. And she sent me this email because I paid to upgrade to have her as my coach. And she sent me this email about, like, my motivations for being in a relationship and who I was for myself and some of the things I thought and some of the things I feared. And I can't tell you the impact that email had on me. I couldn't have written it better myself. And to know that I was that understood by someone really blew me away. And to see it in black and white really helped. Like, it was clear. It was here in my brain now. It wasn't going to go away. Like, who I am for myself and what kind of life I could create for myself. And it was a massive turning point, actually, for me. And I started to own that, like, the last 25 years of my life, like, I'm 41, had really been about emotional avoidance tactics and suppression, and had led to some really big health issues in my life. Depression, just really withdrawing. And I wasn't willing to live like that anymore. But I saw the direct correlation. It wasn't like some magic trick. I mean, I saw how the things I had done, the things I had thought, the things I didn't do, the things I didn't say led me to where I am. And that might sound quite obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me. And so there was a lot of freedom that came with that because it was no longer a mystery. And then you write an apology letter from your ex to yourself. And again, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to feel it, but I stuck with it. And I think it took me 3.5 hours to write, but I wrote it. And I actually sent it to my ex. And then you rewrite the letter to yourself, from yourself. And my God, the compassion I feel for myself now is just untrue. I haven't felt compassion like that for myself in ever. Yeah, so that was really good. And then getting to source it, how it had started to unravel, what I had ignored or what I hadn't ignored. taking, what actions I could take to make it better, etc. Then it just became really like methodical. It became like putting one step in front of the other, and all of a sudden I was walking again and then running. I learned a lot about myself. For the first time in my life, I can genuinely say I love myself. Like, doesn't mean I'm amazing, but I love myself, and I accept my weaknesses and I accept my strengths, and I'm really, really looking forward to what I create in the future. My relationship with my son has dramatically improved. So 3-year-olds are greater at tantrums, and because I wasn't good with emotion, I wasn't great with his tantrums. But his tantrums have really almost stopped. And when he's really upset about something, I'm looking at what he's actually saying to me rather than, oh my God, I can't deal with another tantrum. So it's brought me closer to my son, which is just amazing. And my ex has no control over me now. Like, he called me, at the beginning of March, he was threatening to kill me and kidnap my son. We called the police, a restraining order was put in place, and like 3 weeks later he calls me up complaining about some issue at the bank where he needed 120 pounds. And I was just like, yeah, I have no idea why you would call me, but good luck resolving that. And put the phone down. There was no, oh, I've got to rescue him impulse. And it was really sort of, I was astounded that he would even have the courage to ask me that, because, one of the things I learned from the book is part of self-love is setting boundaries. And because those boundaries are clear to me now, it amazes me that he would cross those boundaries. But it's also amazing to me to know that I have boundaries, and that I won't let those be violated anymore. And yeah, it was just an amazing program. If you told me at the beginning of March, when all this insanity was kicking off and I was just about to start the program, it's the 21st of April right now. If you told me in less than a month I would be calm, have my life working, my son would be calmer, that my relationship with myself would be unparalleled. I mean, there is no other benchmark that I can compare this to. I've never felt so strong and empowered in my entire life, and peaceful at the same time. That I would have effectively created very clear, rigid boundaries with my ex. He doesn't rattle my cage anymore. And when you think just a month ago the police thought they were going to have to protect me. So I don't want to leave you with like that's rash, that I'm not taking protective measures, but it's just I know myself now as someone who can protect myself, and I don't let my boundaries get crossed. And it's really a sense of freedom, and yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, a future is possible now. And I don't know what that looks like right now, but I know what it looks like at the moment is waking up in the morning and just being really happy, and knowing I can face whatever comes my way that day. And there's actually a whole lot of pride right now for myself and what I'm able to provide for my son, and not a neediness for a relationship, which has never been there. I always use that as a key way of defining myself. So I am pretty freaking happy with the 21-day Naked Divorce program. And some of the best affirmations of these changes that I've had are, people that have known me decades, people that have known me a couple of years, those closest to me have all asked me what's happened. Because they can see a change, they can sense a change. Last weekend my ex tried his same normal stuff, and I wasn't even rattled by it, and I handled it with grace and ease. So yeah, I really can't wait to see what I create now, and I'm really grateful that I took the chance and did the program. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made. So if you're considering doing it, I strongly encourage you to do it. And you never know what will happen a month later. Okay? Good luck, and thank you, Adele and the angels, for all the support and encouragement and compassion and just standing by me and making this possible. Thanks very much. Bye.